Hello, welcome to Free Maths Lessons. And today we're going to be looking at June 2023 predicted paper. Have a copy of this. You can go to the website, download the copy and have a go at it. So I'm going to try and run through it. But that's again, it's not guaranteed that these topics will pop up in the paper too, but you will get to revise these 24 topics that way. So without delay, this is for foundation. Let's get started. Okay, so the first question here is saying solve this following equation to find x. X take away 12 is equal to negative 20. Now you can always guess something take away 12 gives you negative 20. So what is that something? That something has to be negative 8. Or we can do the same thing to the both sides of the equal sign and solve it. So even when you get the decimal or fractional answer, you can always manage to solve it. So I'm going to write the equation again. So we go x minus 12 equal to negative 20. How do I get this negative 20? Get rid of the negative 12. We need to add 12. So we add 12 on both sides. So we know we get negative 12 and positive 12 will give you 0. Okay, so we're left with this x. And on the right hand side, negative 20 add 12 gives you negative 8. And that's our answer. Same here, again doing the same thing to both sides. This is two-step equation and you get 2 marks. 4 times something, take away 3 will give you 11. Add 3 on both sides of the equal sign, and again it's a calculator paper, so you should be able to do these relatively straightforward or relatively easily. So we get the negative 3 and positive 3 gives you 0, so you're left with 4x equal, and 11 add 3 gives you 14. Now, you can't divide 14 by 4 on top of your head, but you can use calculator. Divide both sides by 4, and then you get 4x divided by 4, you only get 1x. Having 4 lots of something and you're splitting it into 4 equal parts, you get one of those. Equal to 14 divided by 4 will give you 3.5. Or you can simplify the fraction and get 7 over 2. 7 over 2 is same as 3.5. And if you put using calculator, obviously we're going to say 14 divided by 4, that gives you 3.5. But if you're not using calculator, this is what we can do. Rounding numbers to nearest 10. Now, first thing I need to look at, which digit represents 10. So this 5 represents 10. So is it going to be close to 7,650? Or the next 10 after 50 would be 7,660. So which is one of these two numbers is this close to? That actually happens to be exactly in the middle. By the rule of rounding, we're saying if it's exactly in the middle, we take it forward. We add it on to saying, is it going to be close to this number here? 7,660. Simplify, or in other words, collecting the common terms or collecting a like terms. So the two like terms are here is x terms. So that's positive 7x and that's positive 4x. So what do you get? 7x and positive 4x will give you 11x. And that'll get you 1 mark. And then we collect the y's. But now this time remember y, that's positive 3y and that's a negative y. So we got 3y, take away y, that will give you positive 2y. And that's the answer, you get 2 marks. Find 35% of 480 kilograms. Now, if you're using calculator, it's really straightforward, okay? You want to change 35% as a decimal, so divide 35 by 100, you get 0.35. Okay. Now, if I'm working out 35% of 480, all I need to do is that decimal number multiplied by 480. And put that in the calculator, that should give you answer very easily. Okay. So 0.35 multiplied by 480, we get 168. That's it. Question 5. Write down the word that describes the shaded area. Okay. Write down the word that describes the shaded area. So the shaded area is described by major sector. Remember, this slice of pizza is known as a sector. That's a sector, but that's also a sector. This is a smaller sector, we call it minor sector, but this one here is major sector because it's a bigger sector. So it's also a sector. Question 6. The ratio problem here. A and B are in the ratio 3 to 15. Write down A to B in the form n to 1. So let's write it down. Okay, we got A to B. And when A is 3, the B has to be 15. And we've been asked to write in that form where the second B part should go to 1. So what am I doing to 15 to get to 1? Okay, I need to do the same thing to find that n. If I'm dividing 15 by 15 to get to 1, I need to divide 3 by 15 as well. So 3 divided by 15 will give you 1/5, which is 0.2. Okay? Because you are allowed to use calculator, so that's all I had to do, 3 divided by 15. So this is what we get for that 1 mark. Jamie leaves his house at 8 a.m. It takes Jamie 3/4 of 5 hours to get to his destination. Now we want to work out 3/4 of 5. 3/4, 3 out of 4 multiplied by 5. So I'll tell you how many hours does it take him to get to his hour. Okay, it takes Jamie 3/4 of 5 hours to get to his destination. So that's all we need to look at. Okay. So 45 minutes of every hour. So 3/4 times 5. So it takes him 3.75 hours. Now that doesn't mean it will take him from 8 at 3.75. So it doesn't mean it would be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock and then 75 minutes. No, it means 11 o'clock and 0.75 hours means a 3/4 of an hour, which is 45 minutes. Again, if you wanted to work out what would that be, we change that 0.75 into minutes. How do we change 0.5 hours into minutes? We're multiplying it by 60 because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So 0.75 times 60 will give you 45 minutes. Okay, so 3 hours and 45 minutes. So now if you add 3 hours to 8, it gives you 9, 10 and 11. So 11 o'clock and then 45 a.m. So 11:45 a.m. that's when you get to the destination. Again, every single one of those working out is needed for you to get marks. It's 3 mark questions. So remember, you write that down, you'll get 1 mark. And then you change minutes into 45 and get the final answer correct. You get that last accuracy marks. Write down assumption you made in making your calculations. Okay. The things that we assumed here, that he doesn't stop anywhere in between. Okay. And he leaves his house and he goes to his destination straight away. So that's the time actually traveling time or without stopping, or even if he stopped anywhere, that's included within that 3/4 of 5 hours. That's all we're assuming here. Nothing else that we're assuming there. List all the factors of 36. That factors and multiples. Okay, factors mean all the numbers that multiplies together to make 36 in a way. Okay, so all the pairs. We always work out factors in pairs. So first pair you should all be able to write down is 1 and 36, because 1 times 36 will give you 36. In the next pair, we always look for the second number after the 1, which is 2. 2 goes into 36, yes, because it's even number. So divide 36 by 2, you get 18. Then would 3 goes into 36, yes, because 3 add 6 gives you 9. And 3 goes into 9, so 3 will go into 36. But how many times? So you divide 36 by 3, so 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 6 twice, so it's 12. Then would 4 go into it? Yes, because if you half it and you get the even number, so 4 will go into it 9 times. 5 wouldn't go because number doesn't end with 5 or 0. 6 goes, yes. 6 goes how many times? 6 times. So you don't have to repeat the factors. So These are all the factors. There isn't any other number. 7 and 8 doesn't go because we're saying 6 times 6 and 4 times 9 will give you that. So there isn't any number between 6 and 9 that goes into 36. List of the factors. List of all the factors of 54 exactly the same way. We're doing 1 and 54. Okay, then again even numbers, so 2 and 27. Because half of 54 is 27. Then 5 add 4 is 9. Again 3 goes into 9, so 3 will go into 54. 3 goes into 5 once and 2 remainder. And 3 goes into 24 8 times. So 18 times 3 gives you 54. Now 4 wouldn't go into it because when you half it you get odd number. 5 doesn't go, 6 goes. How many times 6 goes? So you've got double 3, you have 18, which is 9. Okay, so 6 times 9 will give you 54. 7 doesn't go, 8 doesn't go. If 4 doesn't go, 8, 6, none of the other number will go into it because that's what we're looking at. Any multiples of 2 afterward wouldn't go. And we looked at it, all the factors of 54. Now we got the factors of 54 and factors of 36. It says write down the highest common factor. The biggest number is common factor between those. So I'm going to start with 36. No, 36, 18. Yes, 18 is there in both of those. So 18 is the biggest number that's common factor. Biggest factor that's common in both of those. And that's why we get the highest common factor of those two numbers is 18. You generally get the prime factors for these kind of questions, okay? So make sure you know what prime factors are and prime factor trees are and revise for those things. We got question 9 here. Calculate the bearings. Calculate bearing A from B. So we need to work out from B. So this is where we're calculating it. If I meant to go from B to A, from B, this is really important in the question, okay? I'm going from B to A. So I need to calculate the bearings from here. When you're calculating bearings, you need to calculate it from the north line. That's the reason this north line is given to you, okay? So we always measure it from the north line. Go clockwise. So always go in that direction. So what's the angle does he make from the north line to this? And that's what we need to work out, okay? And then the last one, you always write here as a 3-digit. 3 figures. So if your angle is less than 100, you always write 0.95 or 0.16, whatever the degree is. But you need to, if it's less than 100, you also still write here as a 3 figure. Okay, from the north, clockwise and in 3 figures. Okay, so how am I going to work out this angle from this 110? We use this north line again. So from A and B, these north lines are parallel. Okay, and if I know this is a straight line down here, then that angle would be 70 degrees. And if that's 70 degrees, this one would be 110, or you can look at it this one as an alternate angle. So this angle here is 110. So if I know this angle at a point adds up to 360 degrees, so we're doing 360 take away 110. So what's 360 degree take away 110, which gives you 250. So this angle that we were looking for is 250 degrees. So from B to A, I need to travel at 250 degrees in a clockwise direction. So the bearing is 250 degrees. We measured it from the north line in a clockwise direction and wrote it down as a 3 figure. 1, 2, and 3. Tariq has 18 bottles of prime hydration. Each bottle holds 500 ml. He sells 2/3 of his bottles. Work out how many liters of prime hydration Tariq kept for himself. Okay, they already included prime in these papers or these questions. I don't know why basically, but just it's going to distract you from the actual question. 2/3 of his bottle. So we need to work out 2/3 of 18. He sells 2/3 of 18 bottles. Okay, so we need to put that in the calculator. Divided by 3, multiplied by 2, so we'll be 12. So he sells 12 bottles. Okay, so he's got 6 bottles left for himself. So you got 6 bottles left for himself, okay? And each bottle has 500 ml. So you're doing 6 times 500 ml. That gives you 3000 ml. Now we've been asked to write down your answer in liter. Okay, so we know the 1 liter is 1000 milliliter. Anytime you have to do any conversion, one unit to any other, like hours to minutes or liter to milliliter, kilometer to meter, write down what the conversion actually is. We're going from ml to liter, milliliter to liter. Okay, so we're going from 1000 to 1. How do I go from 1000 to 1? Obviously, divide by 1000. Okay, and when you divide it by 1000, 3000 divided by 1000 will give you 3. So we get 3 liters of prime got left over. Tariq paid $2.99 per bottle and he sold it for 6. Calculate how much profit Tariq made. Okay, now we're considering that he paid $2.99 for all 18 bottles. This is really poorly worded question, okay? Because are we considering things that he made left it himself or not? That's really poorly constructed question. Again, I'm not taking any credits and I'm not taking any blames either, okay? So $2.99 per bottle, so you can do $2.99 times 18. Or you can do $2.99 times 12. I have to be really clear about it. Are we focusing on the 12 bottle you sold? Are you focusing on all 18 bottles? Because if you're drinking it for yourself, keeping 6 bottles for yourself, you're not going to be making profit or loss on that. You just spend that 6 bottles, £18 pretty much to yourself. So $2.99 times 18. So again, it's a calculator paper, so these calculations shouldn't bother you, okay? And he sells the bottles for £6 each. So we're doing £6 times 12. Remember, he only sold 12 bottles. So he sells it for £72. He makes £72 from those. So even if you're considering all 18 bottles, he still made profit. So 72 take away 53 point. Reflect the shape D in the mirror line. Now there's a 2 different way you can do that, okay? You can find these points, and that's the only way I'm going to have to do it. Or you can use a tracing paper, where you trace the shape, trace the line, and mark one of the point, like this point here, on the tracing paper, and on here as well, okay? Then mark that point on the tracing paper with the line and these 4 points, and flip the tracing paper over. Make sure you line up that point and the line of reflection. Where does it go? The second way of doing it is you look at the perpendicular distance to the line of reflection, mirror line. So that length here is, look, 1 diagonal. So that point there will go there, 1 diagonal. This point is 2 diagonal at 90-degree angle. Look, 1, 2 diagonal at 90-degree angle. So I got 2 diagonal at 90-degree angle there. Okay, and that would be that point there. This one is 2.5 diagonal. 1, 2.5. So I go half, 1, and 2. So this point is going to be there. This one, you can imagine there's a 1 here, 2 here, and 3 diagonals. So I'm going to be in the same direction, 2 more diagonals. 1, 2, and 3 diagonals. So you got all 4 points, you join them up, and you got our point. Reflect shape D in there. So you know it will go like that. See? I'll look at it that way. Okay? So reflection is done. So it's up to you how you want to look at it when you reflect it. But this distance should be at 90-degree angle to the line of reflection. Write down a mathematical name for shape D. Now, the original shape, before you do any transformation, there are 4 transformations. You got enlargement, rotation, reflection, and translation. So the original shape before any of those transformations known as an object. And after the transformation, what you get is image. So after the reflection, what you're getting is image. Okay. So that's the mathematical name for this shape D. Given the shape D is enlarged by scale factor 3.5, calculate the area of the enlarged shape. Okay, so we need to work out the area. Okay, so each one of these length is been multiplied by 3.5. Okay, so we can work out what each one of those lengths going to be. That's the easier version. Work out what's the size of the bigger shape going to be. So make that 2 length, and that 3 length 2.5 times bigger. Okay, so I'm going to write it down first. That was 2, that was 2, and that was 3, and that was our trapezium there. Okay, I'll tell you the formula for trapezium because it's given to you in the formula sheets that you get generally. Okay, so we're gonna make it 3.5 times bigger, the entire thing. Okay, so if you make 2 times 3.5, will give you 7. So that would be 7. That would be 7. And 3 times 3.5. Let's just use a calculator. You are allowed to use calculator. Okay. We get 10.5. Okay, so we got the bigger enlarged shape here. That was original shape. This is image. And we've been asked to work out the area of the enlarged shape. Okay, so area of this one. So area of trapezium comes from half times A and B multiplied by height. Now A and B are the two parallel lines. These lines are parallel, and then the height is the 90-degree angle to the A and B. So this 7 is the height. So we're doing A at B. So we get 17.5 multiplied by 7 and multiplied by half. We're putting that in the calculator, gives you the area of this trapezium. Half times 17.5 times 7. I get 61.25. Okay, that's the area of that shape D. Okay. What happened here? Yeah, that's the area of the shape D. Now, I could have worked it out from here, but you don't multiply. When you're working out the area, you need to multiply by the scale factor square, because the area here would have been 5 times 2 times half. So the area of this trapezium would have been this, because 3 add 2 is 5, multiplied by the height, which is 2 times by half, will give you 5. But I don't multiply 5 by just 3.5. I need to multiply 5 by 3.5 twice. Okay, 3.5 square, and that will give you this one. If you do the 5 times 3.5 square, will give you that. Because when you're comparing two different areas of the similar shapes, you need to multiply by scale factor square, because I'm multiplying the length by 3.5 and the height by 3.5 as well. That's why the area always get the square, whatever the scale factor is, squared bigger. Okay, so that's the reason I said just draw another trapezium and just use the formula rather than trying to understand this. This can be slightly tricky the first time you're looking at this. So I was thinking of a number. This number is multiple of 7 and also factor of 70. Write down Sarah's number. Okay, I can think of one number straight away. Multiple of 7. So these are the multiples of 7. Okay, so one number, and the factors of 70 is 1 and 70, 7 and 10. So 7 is the multiple of 7 and is a factor of 70 as well. So that's straightforward. It doesn't really tell you which exact number we're looking for. So as soon as you find it, you can write it down. And then we got John has two numbers. One of the number is a square number and the other number is a prime number. The square number is less than 50 and the prime number is more than 20. Okay, so we need to go through the list. List the one possible pair of the number that John might have. Okay, it doesn't ask you to list all the possible pairs, just one possible pair. Okay, so one number is a square number, the other number is a prime number. Now the square number is less than 50, so it could be 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36 and 49. Okay, So those could be any one of those numbers. And the prime number is more than 20. So number that's after the 20, the prime number that comes is 23, 29, 31, and so on. So you just can list any one of those pairs, okay, for 1 and 23, 4 and 29, 3 and 31, because it doesn't say anything about what they add up to or whatever that's happening, okay, with those numbers. So slightly vague question there again, okay. Question 13, if a is negative 2, work out this value here, b squared minus 4ac. This is a determinant, okay. You could generally use that to solve quadratic formulas. So we're doing the squaring the b. So squaring b means negative 7 squared. You can write down these things here. Use the negative 7 and the brackets. Even when you're putting in the calculator, use the brackets when you're squaring negative number, because you end up doing negative then 7 squared. So you'll get negative 49 if you don't use brackets. That again all depends on the calculator. Different calculators have slightly different functions, okay. Then you're doing minus 4 times negative 2 times 5. So remember that minus sign is with that 4. So you would get positive answer. So you get 49. Minus 4 times minus 2 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. So you get positive 40 when you do minus 4, minus 2 and 5. So positive 40. So 40 and 40 gives you 80. So we get 89 as our answer for that. Use your calculator to work out this again. I'd say when you're putting these numbers in the calculator, make sure your calculator says degree. If you have a calculator screen, okay, in your display line somewhere, there should be a letter D or DEG somewhere in the middle there. If it's not in the degree, then you won't be able to enter sine 30. You won't give you exact number. So find out that your calculator is set in the degree mode. That's all you need for GCSE foundation, even for the higher degree modes. You don't need to worry about radians or any other gradients mode, okay. Just remember, keep your calculator in degree mode, so you can put sine 30 and you expected to know what sine 30 actually is, okay. So but don't worry, it's a calculator paper, so whatever you expected to know is gone in the last paper. You should be able to answer that question using calculator, okay. So we put that in the brackets again. You make sure you use the brackets. So first thing I would do in my calculator, I would put square root sign, okay. But before I put the square root sign, I open brackets because I want to do the top part and then divide that after using the excluding the brackets afterward, okay. So the bracket, then the square root, then I put sine 30, and then I'm close the brackets because see, I already confused my thing as well. So I do brackets, then the square root. That's the calculation I'm putting. Then I'm going to put open bracket, then the sine, open bracket, 30, close the bracket. Then I'm going to add. Then I'm going to add 2.101 to the power 4. Again, you can use the bracket, so make sure that you're using that. You can get away without using the bracket, so I'm going to try to do it without brackets, okay. So when you do the power 4, you probably have to press the hat button, or you might have y to the power x, okay. So this is just you being able to use the calculator, okay. So the power 4, and then you close the brackets. Now what I'm doing is I worked out the value at the top, and I'm going to do the same thing, close the brackets, and I'm going to press equal now. So I've worked out the value of the top line. Again, I'm not getting rid of that answer. Then I'm going to press divide. Okay, so that whatever that answer is now, I'm dividing it by this. Again, I'm going to open the bracket. Okay, so divide. I pressed equal sign here, so I got this thing as an answer. Okay, and then I'm going to press equal sign and then divide, open the bracket. 6.7 minus 3.20 and close the bracket. And then I'm going to power it by half, which you can use the power button like this, or y to the power x, one of those, and then you can use fraction as a half, okay? And I end up with 2.19. And say, write down all the figures shown on your calculator. So you need to write down everything you see on your calculator. Got 2.192350859. Okay, so those are the numbers I see in the calculator. Round your answer to the part two significant figure. Two significant figure means you start counting from the first number that has a value. So first number that has a value, first digit that has a value is 2. So it's going to be, that's your first significant figure. And that 1 is your second significant figure. So look at the digit after that is 9. So you round it up, saying it's going to be close to 2.2 rather than 2.1. So that's that two significant figure. So even if you got something wrong here, but as long as you put that answer and then rounded that answer to two significant correctly, you still get that 1 mark. Even if you got this one completely wrong, we still get that 1 mark. Okay, if not those 2 marks, you still should be able to get that 1 mark. First 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence. Arithmetic, when you're adding and subtracting, that's what it means by arithmetic. If you're multiplying and dividing, then it's a geometric sequence. Write down the next 2 terms of this sequence. So what we're looking at, saying, okay, what we're doing, we're taking away 0.8 every time. Okay, we're taking away 0.8 every time. So if I take away 0.8, sorry, no, shouldn't be doing that. If I take away 0.8 from here, that means I'm adding 0.8 to 1.8. Okay, so what do we get? 2 point, what's 18 add 8 basically? Okay, 18 add 8 is 26, so it's negative 2.6. And then again, what's 26 add 8 is negative 3.4. Okay, so again we're taking away 0.8, and that's your next 2 terms. Write an expression in terms of nth, finding the nth term of that sequence. So we're taking away 0.8 every time. So in your nth term would be you adding negative 0.8 every time. So if you're looking for nth term, you're going to be adding n lots of negative 0.8. And again, when you do that, your starting value would be negative 0.8. First term should be that. But I don't want negative 0.8. I want positive 1.4. So how do I go from negative 0.8 to positive 1.4? So I need to add 0.8 and 1.4. That means I need to add 2.2 to get to that first term here. When you replace n with 1, then my first term has to be 1.4. If I add that 2.2, I would get that. Okay, so that's my nth term formula. Simon carried out a survey of her year group at school. Simone. Simone's year group consists of 200 students. 3/5 of the year group answered this survey. So we need to look at it. Okay, what is 3/5 of 200? Put that in the calculator. So dividing it by 5, multiplying it by 3. Okay, so which gives me 20 times 6, 120. 3/5 times 200. So it's 120. So 120 answered the survey. Okay, so that total should be 120. Now we should get another clue to work out what the Xbox and PlayStation is, their favorite console. Okay, so Switch was 15, PC was 27. So there's a majority people should be with Xbox and PlayStation. Now the ratio between the student prefers Xbox to those who prefer PlayStation is 8 to 5. That means 8 for the PlayStation. Student who prefer Xbox to those who prefer PlayStation is 8 to 5. Sorry. So when you're writing it down, don't look at that order here. What we're given here, Xbox to PlayStation. So we got Xbox to PlayStation is 8 to 5. So when 8 student chooses Xbox, 5 student chooses PlayStation. So we need to share remaining amount after you're taking away this 15 and 27 from 120 into this ratio here. So we're going to try and do that. Okay, take away 15 from 120 and then take away 27. So we got 78 to share in that ratio here. Okay, so 8 add 5 gives me 13. So we need to cut 78 into 13 equal parts. Okay, then you got 8 of those parts needs to be given to Xbox and 5 of those parts need to be given to PlayStation. So we're cutting 78 into 13 equal parts. So 78 divided by 13 will give you 6. So one part is 6. So we're multiplying both sides by 6. So saying we got Xbox got 8. So 8 times 6 is 48. And that would be 30. When you add them, it should give you 78. So we know the PlayStation is 30 and Xbox is 48. From the data collected, student was selected at random. Random means everyone in the school, that 200 student has exactly the same chance of getting selected. Work out the probability that they preferred an Xbox or Switch. Okay, so how many people preferred Xbox? We said 48. So we got 48 for Xbox, or so it doesn't matter whether it's Xbox or Switch. Okay, so Switch is 15. So we're adding that on. 48 add 15 will give you 62, and 62 out of 120. So that's the probability of someone who prefer Xbox or Switch. Okay, so 48 add 15 gives you 62 out of 120. So out of 62 would have chosen either Xbox or Switch out of 120. Simone says, from my survey, it shows that the most preferred console in my school is Xbox. Is Simone correct? Yes, because that's the highest probability. Most common, most preferred console is Xbox. Okay. Write down one criticism of Simone's survey. Okay. So let's look at it. Simone's year group consists of 200 students. See, the problem there is, randomly chose student from her year group rather than her school. So you only represent just a year group. So you can say Simone is incorrect here, or Simone is correct depending on what you want to look at it. Okay. So from the survey, yes, but not in her school. It should be in my year. That's a criticism. So you only took the sample from her year group rather than every year group. So it could have been year 10, could have been year 11. So you need to choose year 7 to 11, because as you grow older, you probably go away from the Nintendo, go towards the PlayStation when you get older, basically, or Xbox. So you're probably PC as well. So if you consider all the year group, the result might have varied. Okay. The length of the rectangle is measured as 7 centimeters. By the way, sorry. Okay. When you're writing the criticism, you don't worry about what you think is, what your school or what your opinion is. We always go on the data here. So in the data, what we're showing is, obviously Simone is looking to answer it for the school. And she only collected data from one year group. So that's the fact that we need to stick to. So you should have completed the facts, collected the data from across the all year groups rather than sticking to just one year group. Okay. And that's the fact. That's all you need to stick to about it. Forget about me talking about as people grow older, they move on to the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Now, forget about that. That's my view, and it doesn't really matter. So you need to look at that fact there. The length of the rectangle is measured 7 centimeters, correct to nearest centimeter. That means the number here, 7 centimeters, has been rounded to nearest whole number. Okay. So it could have been anything from. So what are the numbers that rounds to 7 centimeters? anything from 7.5 and below, that's why that's less than sign, and 6.5 or above. Okay, so you can round 6.5 to 7 or anything above that and below that. That's the error interval of this number here. How do we generally working out? Okay, so if it's rounded to nearest centimeter, we always look for the next number at nearest centimeter is 8, and look at the number before that, which is 6. Now the boundaries are these. All the numbers that rounds to 7 are from halfway between 6 and 7 and halfway between 7 and 8. So that would be your upper bound, 7.5, and this is your lower bound, 6.5. But 6.5 rounds to 7, but 7.5 rounds to 8. And that's the reason we always use this less than, strictly less than sign. It has to be strictly less than 7.5, but greater than or equal to 6.5. And that's the error interval that we needed to write down. Give exact width of the rectangle is 4 centimeter. Calculate the smallest possible area of the rectangle. So smallest possible area comes from 4 times 6.5. Because it could have been 6.5, the height or the length, or up to 7.5. But we're looking for the smallest possible value. So this is the exact answer. Multiply those together. 4 times 6.5. Even though you know what you're doing is 2-mark question, so make sure you write down this calculation. This is what we're looking to do. And put that in the calculator. 6 times 4 is 24, and the half of 4 is 2. So 24 and 26 centimeters squared. That's the smallest possible area of that rectangle. The line is showing on the grid. Okay. So, question is calculate the gradient of the line. The gradient M comes from change in Y. So how quickly going up? That's what you want to work out. Slope of the line. Divide by change in X. Why? Because if I take one step across, so you take any point on this line, 1 point on that line, let's say this one, okay? Then when I move 1 across, how far up do I need to go to get back to the line? And it has to be 90-degree triangle. So I'm doing 1, 2, and 3 steps up when I move 1 across. So change in Y is 3, divide by change in X, which is 1. And that's the reason you always look at it 1 across, 3 up. The slope of that line is 3 then. The gradient is 3 divided by 1, which is 3. And that's your gradient. That's how simple. If I use the 2 across, let's say, that means I needed 6 up to get back to the line. Let's look at it from here. Look. From there, 2 across, and there's 3 more here, 3 and 3, 6. So every 1 across, I'm moving 3 up. So 6 divided by 2 would have given you that 3 as well. Okay. Write down the coordinates of the y-intercept. Y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So when x is 0, y value is 6, negative 6. So the y-intercept is negative 6. So this is where it crosses. Or if they ask you to write here as a coordinates, so remember, read the questions carefully. I would have lost that mark. So it's a coordinate. So when x is 0, y is negative 6. So it's 0, negative 6. That's what the y-intercept is, the coordinates. Okay, rather than just writing down the y value. Write down the equation of the line. So the equation of the line is always in that form. We already know what m is. So we're saying m is 3. So y equal to 3x. And then the y-intercept is negative 6. So c is negative 6. So y equal to 3x minus 6. The supermarket has the brands of laundry detergent on sale. Brand B has a special offer. A family typically uses 3 liters of laundry detergent per week. How much could they save in a month by choosing the cheaper option? Okay, so uses 3 liters of laundry detergent per week. Really important, okay? You can box the question, means box the special things. So how much they could save in a month. That's the special one, okay? Underline important information, 3 liters per week. 15% discount on brand B. A, you don't get any discount, okay? So we're just going to work out the options for month, which is 4 weeks in a month. You can always consider that if you wanted to, okay? Or you can look at it divided by 7 times it by 30. Average month length, you're going to use it as a 30 days, okay? So whatever you want to look at it, you're going to have to look at it that way. So important things is that, okay? So we're going to look at it 3-liter laundries per week. So we're going to look at it 2 of these. So in the 7 days, you got 3.8 times 2. So we get £7 and 60p in the 7 days, okay? So divided by 7. And we get 1.085714286. And then we multiply by 30. So in 30 days, so 7 days, 760, and so in 30 days, it would be £32 and 57 pence. Okay? So that's how much money they would be spending on brand A. Now brand B, 2 liter for £5.50. Okay? And we get 15% discount. So obviously they're using 3 liter per week. So we're going to be looking at 7 days for brand B, and we're doing half of 550 and add it on to 550. So we get £8 and 25p. Okay, for 3 liters in the 7 days. £8 and 25p. But we get, remember, 15% special offer, 15% discount. Now you can work it out for 7 days, 30 days, and then apply 15% discount. Or you can apply 15% discount right now. So let's work out for 30 days. Divided by 7 and times it by 30. So we get 30 days. It would have been £35 and 36 pence. Because this money, we always round it to 2 decimal places. Now what you're going to apply is 15% discount. So multiplying it by 0.85. So I would be paying £30 and 5p. Okay? After 15% off. Okay? After you take away 15%, you're getting £30 and 5p. So compared to £32 and 57p, you pay £30 and 5p. So I'm going to take that away. We save £2 and 52p. You save £2 and 52, or £2.52, okay, a month. And that's for my question. Again, we could have done that a little bit more working out, but I'm doing both and trying to save time on that. That's the reason, okay. Question 20. The table shows Mr. Andrews' Year 10 GCSE Paper 1 mock results. Write down the model interval of score. Model is the most common, okay. So which class has most number of people there? 20 to 40 has 15 people who scored between 20 to 40. So that's model class. 20 to 40. Okay. So there, the most people got marks between 20 to 40. And that's the model class. Estimate of mean. Okay. To correct to 1 decimal place. Now, reason they said estimate of mean, because we don't know what these 8 people scored. They scored between 0 to 20. So we don't know what actual score of those 8 people. So what we're going to do, we're going to assume that all of these 8 people scored 10 marks. Midpoint. And that's what that midpoint column is going to be. Okay. So all of those 8 people scored roughly 10 marks. So the total of those 8 people would be 80 marks. These 15 people, we say we're going to be looking to say that it got 30 marks. Okay. So total of those people score 15 times 30. 45, 450. Yeah. And then we got these 8 people scored 50 marks. That's 400. These 4 people scored 70 marks. We're going to assuming again midpoint. That's the reason, because we have no idea how much each one of these people scored. We're assuming that all 4 of those would have averaged out to 70, and that's why it's called estimate, because we just estimating it. Okay, and 280. And then we add all the scores. So between these people here, okay, so how many people are there? 16 and 15, 31 and 435. So between these 35 people, that's the score they got. Okay, so 400 plus 450 plus 80 plus 280. I got 1210. Okay, 0, 16 and 21, carry 2, 10 and 2, 12. Okay, that's right. So when I added all 35 score, they added to 1210. So estimated mean going to be total divided by how many there are. So total is 1210 divided by 35 that we added. So I'm going to divide that by 35 and we get 34 point. At 1 decimal place is important as well. So you get 34.6 at 1 decimal place. And that's the estimated mean that we got. A bag contains only red counters, blue counters, green counters and yellow counters. Okay, so those 4 different counters. Table shows probability of taking a counter from a bag, so 0.12, 0.08, they add up to 0.2. So these 2 should add up to 0.8. Okay, probability, because probability of getting any one of those colors is going to be 1. Okay, because there's only 4 colors. So when I add all these probabilities should always add up to 1. So when you add these 2, they add up to 0.2. So these 2 should add up to 0.8. The probability of taking blue counter is 4 times greater than the probability of taking the green counters. Okay, so 4 times greater here. So whatever that, if that's x, then this would be 4x. So that 4x and x put together gives you 0.8. So we can say the 5x is equal to 0.8. Whatever that probabilities are, they should add up to 0.8. So 5 parts should add up to 0.8. So if I wanted to work out the number of blue counters in the bag, if you have 50 yellow counters, again we're going to consider that things, okay? Something multiplied by 0.08 gives you 50. So we're going to work out, first let's work out the probability of the blue counters. So probability of the blue counters, first you work out the green and then multiply that by 4 to work out the green counters. Okay, so divide that by 5. So 0.8 divided by 5. You get 0.16. So that's probability of this one is 0.16. And multiply that by 4, we gives you probability of this one is 0.64. Okay, so probability of getting blue is 0.64. So about 8 times bigger than yellow. So if there are 50 yellow counters, I can go from there to there by multiplying by 8. Okay, then there are 400 blue counters. I can look at it that way. Okay, or you can work out how many total counters there are and multiply by 0.64. There are multiple ways of doing these things. Okay, so let's say these are 50 here. So what we're saying is some number, the total, let's say call it y. A sum number y multiplied by 0.08 gives me 50. How do I work out this value here, sum number y? Divide both sides by 0.08. So if you do 50 divided by 0.08, it gives me 625. So this total value is 625. Now if I know the probability of getting blue is 0.64, then I can do 625 divided by 0.64, sorry, multiplied by 0.64 gives me the answer 400. Okay, and you can check that. Again, like I said, 0.808 to 0.64 is 8 times bigger. 50 times 8 is 400. So there should be 400 blue counters in the bag. Chloe takes a counters from a bag, notes down the color, then replaces it. She selects the second counters. Find the probability that Chloe took 2 different colors. Okay. There's just so many different ways you can get there, okay? So 4 options for every single one of those, okay? So 2 different colors. The probability of the 2 same colors you can work out and then take away from the 1, okay? That would be a lot easier options than doing the other way. It's 3 marks and you shouldn't be doing that, okay? So probability of getting green, so what's the first color? Probability of getting red and red. So we want to multiply those probability. Red probability, because it replaces it. So probability of red is 0.12 multiplied by 0.12 again. Okay. So we get 0.144. So these are the probability of choosing 2 of those same counters, okay, same color counters. When I add them up, I worked out probability of all the possible way you can collect the 2 same counters, okay. So I got 0.0256. So probability of getting 2 of the same color is equal to 0.456. So the probability of getting 2 different color would be taking away from 1, which is probability of getting 2 different color is 0.544. That's the quickest way to look at it. Or you can draw the tree diagram and try to work out what's the probability going to be for if you're picking 2 different branches, okay, 2 different color branches. Will he have enough spray paint left to paint both supports? Show you're working to justify your answer. So we need to work out the area of this corners basically, okay, and in terms of meter square. Right now it's in the centimeter. We need to, so area of the triangle is half time base time height. Now the base and the height needs to be a 90-degree angle. So we're looking at 90 as your base and the 40 as your height. So if you do half time base, so half of the base is 90, so 45 times 40. And that gives you area in centimeters squared. So we're doing 45 times 40, or you can do 90 times 20, which is 180. So 1800, okay? So that gives you 1800 centimeters squared. So that also would be 1800 centimeters squared. So we got 3600 centimeters squared to cover, okay? But that's not what we got. That's the area. Now I need to change that into meter square, or I need to change meter square into centimeter square, either way. So we need to write down the conversion, okay? So saying 1 meter is 100 centimeter. So 1 meter square would be 10,000 centimeters square. Now this might surprise you, okay? 1 meter square would be 10,000 centimeters square, because look, 1 meter square comes from 1 meter by 1 meter. That gives you 1 times 1, so it's 1 meter square. If I change that into centimeters, that would be 100 centimeter times 100 centimeter. 100 times 100 will give you 10,000. So inside here, 1 meter square become 10,000 centimeter squares. Okay, so I need to divide that by 10,000 and I get 0.36 meter square. If you look at the front parts, okay, so remember it needs 2 coats of paint, so I need to double that. Even if you double it, and probably have the front and back, okay. So probably have the support here, the front and the back as well, okay. So we need to multiply by 4 because you had 2 coats. When you do the 2 coats, you get 0.72 meter square. Can covers 1.5 meter square and it already used the 40. If I do 1.5 times 0.55, That means what's left over. So leftover paint is 0.825 meters square. So he has more than enough paint to cover these two coats on one side in a way, if you're looking at it, okay? So we worked out our answer and justified it as well. Identity means regardless of what the letters are, both sides are equal to each other. So if I multiply them out quickly, so I get 2ax minus 2ay. So I know the 6 and 2a has to be exactly the same, because both sides, left hand side and right hand side, are exactly the same. So there's only one way you can get coefficient of x if 2a and 6 has to be exactly the same. So we're saying 2a is equal to 6, so a is 3. Because divide both sides by 3, you get a equal to 3. And negative ay is equal to positive by. So negative a is equal to b. That's the only way it can both happen. So if a is equal to 3, then the b is equal to negative 3. That's all you had to say. So a is 3, so b is negative 3. Okay. First 5 terms of the geometric sequence as given to you. Okay. Like I said, the geometric sequence is when you're multiplying and dividing. Okay, that's what's happening in geometric sequence. So the different geometric sequence has the same common ratio. Work out common ratio, complete the missing terms of the sequence. Okay. So we need to figure out what's happening between these ratios, okay? So we're doing 25 or 15 divided by 25. So that's how we're getting smaller. 15 divided by 0.6. So if I multiply 15 by 0.6, will I get 9? Yes. Multiply that by 0.6. 5.4. So it's 0.6, same common ratio. So you're multiplying it by 0.6 times it by 0.6. How did I get 0.6? I used this term, so 15 divided by 25 to work out how do I go from 25 to 15. Okay, and that gives me 0.6. So that's the common ratio. And you check it. 15 times 0.6 should give you 9. 9 times 0.6 gives you 55.4, and so on. So we're doing the same thing here. It's saying the same common ratio multiplied by 0.6, so that would give you 90. Okay, that gives you 54. That gives you 33.4, and so on. Okay, if you just put that in the calculator, because you are allowed calculator, okay, so you don't have to worry about it doing it yourself. All I did is just made it from that point onward, okay, and then 10 times bigger. And that's about it. Okay, so if you like this, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel and share it with anyone. If anyone can find it useful and basically learn something from this, that's all that I want.